Jaime y Paulo, Executive Director de la Chamber of Commerce, soy director ejecutivo de la Cámara de Comercio de la Cámara de Comercio administra los fondos que usted paga de Special Service Area. We manage the fiscal aid. The purpose of this meeting is for you to learn more about the SSA. It's going to expire this year. The SSA is going to expire at the end of the year. We're seeking to continue the SSA. This is nothing new. We'll go through a presentation. Vamos a darles una presentación para que sepan lo que es el SSA y ojalá que nos puedan dar su apoyo. We have two commissioners for the SSA, doña Elena.
Mike just went to stop for the
Elena Durán is a commissioner for the SSA. Commissioners are appointed by the mayor. Mike Moreno Jr. is another commissioner for the SSA. Bruce here from the city. We're taking to attest everything's complete. And then we have our consultant here. She's going to do the presentation. Welcome everybody. We'll keep the coffee going with juice. Coffee. Coffee. I'll get it. Don't be get it. So anyway, welcome everybody. Everybody okay with English only? Yeah.
Yes.
No habla español. Good morning, everybody. My name is Patric. I'm in the City of Chicago Department of Planning and Development. So the SSA program here is what I'm here to explain before the main part of the presentation where Kimberly will take over. So what is an SSA? First of all, it is a special taxing district, special service area. The city has a number of contracts around the geographic boundary. The program funds additional services, such as clean green and making sure the businesses have a rebate program or banners or festivals. That is totally decided by the local service provider. So it's not tax. So the businesses that are in the district decide to pay the taxes. And it's enabled through statute and city ordinance. This is a program that is passed by city council. Citywide, there are 53 currently across the city. We have 44 service providers, such as Louisville Chamber. It's managed by 450 plus commissioners, like the ones that were here today. The very first SSA was created in 1977. That's downtown State Street. And last year, the total program cost citywide was about $25 million. But you know, there's a lot of money in the program. We're doing a lot of great things across the city. What are some of the things that are allowed in terms of where the money is spent in an SSA program? Customer attraction, public way, sustainability in public places, economic and business development, safety programs, SSA management, and of course personnel. On an annual basis, the department, part of my job is to review the program and approve it. Legislation. Let's go back there. This is City Council. For those of you who have never been down there, this is where we make all the big decisions. Okay. All right. So SSA is a tax law that is statewide. So it passed in the General Assembly a number of years ago. SSAs are not only in Chicago, they're all over the state, a number of different counties and municipalities. In Chicago, we have an ordinance that governs it. And each meeting is subject to the Open Meeting Act. So, for example, this is an open meeting. The public is invited, encouraged to participate. We are subject to the rules of that. Information can be acquired through a request. It's called the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. If there are things that you want to know that we did not hear today, that maybe weren't made available to you, you have the legal right to request information, and you have to respond within 7 days. And there's a governmental ethics ordinance requirements that each of our commissioners have to complete in order to be eligible as elected commissioners. Establishment ordinance. This sets the SSA up, okay? So what we're going through now is similar to this. This SSA is already up and running. We are coming up against a clock where we want to extend. And so we're going to follow these guidelines here. We're going to set boundaries, where the district is. We're going to set the term, how long the SSA will be in place. We're going to set the tax rate cap. Kimberly will explain that, but that's basically how much we can tax. The commission qualifications of our commissioners. We're going to authorize the department to enter into an agreement with the village as a service provider. And then the second part is the levy ordinance. How much money will be voted on by city council to authorize this service provider to have this budget? Annual levy, budget levy, and again, it authorizes us to enter into an agreement with the village. This will cement our arrangement so that we can ensure that there are services in this particular community. Okay. Again, if you're an SSA commissioner, raise your hand. I know we have at least two here today. Okay. And would you say that you're enjoying your time as a commissioner?
Yes.
Would you say it's an easy job? No. Right. And do you enjoy your pay? Right. No. So these are volunteers who spend their time to help the service provider and the commission make decisions on behalf of you, the business owners and people who live in the district and stakeholders. They do this voluntarily, they don't get paid for it, and they make some big decisions as to like how much to spend, where to spend, what to do, how to do it, when to do it. So, that's fine. What can they do? What superpowers do they have? Okay? So, they can improve the annual tax rate, they can improve the services budget, and they can improve the service provider. They authorize the budget, so they actually vote on how much, who gets the contract, etc. They review all of the vendors, and they approve all the subcontracts. So, for example, they would approve the consultant here as one of the vendors in this program. They also do the heavy work of monitoring all the expenses that are provided to them by the service provider for approval, and then they create and amend and fix and adjust the commission bylaws as necessary over the time. The service provider. Raise your hand if you're the service provider. Okay, that would be Jaime, Wanda, Magdalena, everybody. And so what do they do? Okay, so you all know them as the Chamber of Commerce, but they also do this as well. But they also do the day-to-day management. They manage all of the stuff that's going on in this community. They manage the vendor selection and the process of requesting proposals and selecting contractors. They cement the agreements through legal contracts. They prepare reports for me to review, as well as the SSA commissioners. And then they also help to recruit new people to serve as commissioners to make sure that we have the right and best people, on behalf of you guys, the stakeholders. Okay. So this is a tricky map. Is everybody understanding me so far? We're okay? Yes. Okay. Gracias. There's no more chat that over time. Okay, so how does the SSA program work? How does the money flow in? How do we get approved? All these, crazy questions. So, City of Chicago, City Council, but you guys only pay your taxes through the county, right? So, the county, assessor treasurers, property taxes, the money goes in through the SSA tax levy that is a special fund, goes to the city comptroller, which then gives the city the authority to manage the program. We have an agreement with the service provider. The commission works with the service provider and subcontractors to make sure that the program is actually being done correctly according to the program. We have a separate bank account. Separate bank account. No money going into Jaime's pocket. No money going into the Little Village Chamber bank account. It's a separate account set up to pay for all SSA expenses. Okay? So this is just a little flow map of how it works. But the money comes through the city comptroller, which then gives, the city and DPD as its department authority to technically, the SSA commissioners are appointed by the mayor. They get nominated by the board, they come to us, we make sure there's a lot of support from the alderman. The mayor appoints all of them. They have to go through these trainings to make sure that they are eligible to serve. And once they do all these things, they can become commissioners. The service provider. We must, on an annual basis, we must make sure that the service provider is no debt to the city. They have their economic disclosure statement, which tells us exactly their structure. And we will make sure that they're in good standing as a registered organization with the state of Illinois. Easy stuff. And then we monitor the entire program down here. So again, the Department of Planning and Development manages the program from an administrative standpoint. The service provider and the commission manages the program from the community standpoint. Okay, this is a timeline. I'm almost at the end. Thank you. Okay. Now we're almost at the end. But where are we in the timeline, right? Because these things don't happen overnight. A lot of research, a lot of consensus building. Part of that is what we're doing here today. We're doing community meetings, we're informing the public. This is what we have to do because we must make sure that you guys are supportive. Because there's another process going on where they're getting signatures of support from you all here. Then there's an application that comes in. We are then now reviewing the nuts and bolts. And that's where everything, okay? In the fall, so a couple of months, we'll get ready to take this whole thing to City Council to get support from City Council approval. And then once we have that, then all this stuff here, county filing, we get a stamp. The SSA will start to take effect January 1st of 2018. Right now, we are extending the term so that we can have another 10, 15, 12 years of activity in this particular business district so we can make sure that you guys have continued services. Okay, and then every year, twice a year, the spring and the fall collection of taxes is what is used to fund the program. So, starting in the spring of 2018, once we extend the life of this TIP, or this SSA, we will continue with that. I think we're at the end. Next slide.
Excuse me,
Yes, questions?
does the alderman play a role in this?
Yes, so the alderman, and you have 3 in this SSA district. You have the 12th ward alderman, you have the 22nd ward alderman, and you have the 24th ward alderman. They have to give us a letter of support that says, we approve of the SSA, we approve of the service provider, and we approve of this program. And so far, we have received that support. That support is there from your elected officials. And so that gives us the ability to take this to City Council knowing that we have their support to vote on the ordinance. Are there any other questions? Yes.
This is an informational meeting.
Yes, this is a community meeting here to inform the public.
So there's not going to be no nothing on the table for the members to vote on.
Well,
The only vote that occurs is actually with the legislature.
But today's meeting, no one, you're not going to vote on no kind of. So what's the status of the application?
so the application has been submitted.
Is that public information? Can we get a copy of that application?
You could get a, yeah, you could FOIA us for a copy.
So they're not going to talk about the application at this meeting.
Not necessarily, but I guess, you know, there could be questions and there could be some answers. That's not my purview. That could be the consultant and or the service provider who can answer those questions. I will tell you that it has been submitted and we are beginning our review of the application.
But that diagram says that the application has to be submitted by June 26th or something?
June 16th.
So-
June 16th is when we.
Oh.
Sure.
Right.
So I'm going to talk about the specifics for this particular district. So Patrick won't know this yet.
Oh, okay.
So you're asking him questions he can't answer because he's just gotten the application last Friday.
Oh, Friday?
All the information that we're going to talk about today, though, is what we submitted in the application. So today's meeting is our third community meeting. We've had 2 already. Today is the 3rd. So as Patrick did talk about, this is not a new SSA, this is a continuation. The SSA has already been in existence for, I think, 15 years. 10 years. 10 years?
This is the 10th year.
Yes, exactly. So it's not a new district, it's not a new tax, and in fact, we're going to be slightly reducing the amount that we're levying in this next year. So if you've been in it, you'll see actually a reduction in what you've been paying for it. But everything that is in the next presentation is part of the application. So are we going to, no, the application is a pre-ring binder that's this big. So are we giving you the application? No, you can certainly request information from the Patrick's department.
It's very thick, but yes, you can
But-
request it if you want.
Right, but for example, a section of the application is all the PowerPoint presentations from the advisory committee meetings and these meetings. You have that here, so there isn't anything that's in the application that isn't part of our presentation.
Okay, I know we had one more question before I pass the, oh,
Did you
yes.
just say that the levy was going to lower in the next year?
Yeah, that's what we're projecting.
Okay. Projecting or proposing?
What would be the difference?
I'll tell you the difference. I'll tell you the
Sure.
difference. The difference is that in this, it says the levy's going to go up by 77%.
You might get the tax rate cap slide. Right, so that's the not to exceed, but the tax rate is actually what, let me back up. You're all a little bit ahead of your.
Yeah, let's hold that question.
You're all a little bit ahead.
Presentation.
But very briefly, the SSA Commission asks for a dollar amount. It doesn't ask for a percentage. So it asks for $300,000, $400,000, $250,000, whatever the commission identifies as what it needs for the work for the following year. So it doesn't ask for a percentage. It just says, this is the dollar amount that we need, and the county figures out the percentage. Now that's how it works on an operational basis. However, the commission can never ask for a dollar amount that would exceed the tax rate cap. So that's, I think, the slide. It looks like you're pretty far ahead in the presentation. So we'll get to that, but remember that the commission is just asking for a dollar amount, not a percentage.
This will be the last question, because I know we have a lot of interesting, more information for you.
So I'm wondering what the rate is based on and how is it determined? Is it based on the size of the location?
All right, these are good questions, more for the nuts and bolts part of the presentation. Why don't we wait for that
So
for
let's-
slides, and then you will have that extra question through the information. Okay, thanks very much. I'm, going to be here for the rest of the program. If you guys have questions afterwards of the city, I'll be around. Thank you.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Kimberly Bears, and I am one of the consultants working on the project on behalf of the Little Village Chamber and the SSA Commission. So, Mike, would you like to walk us through the mission and vision?
How's everybody doing today? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Moreno. I'm co-owner of Moreno's Liquors down here on 26th Street. I'm also one of the SSA members. Please bear with me, I apologize, I haven't gone over this in about a month, so I'm going to get a little bit off the screen, so I do apologize. The SSA mission is that the Little Village SSA supports, promotes, attracts businesses, residents, and visitors with high-quality initiatives and activities that proudly reflect the Mexican heritage of the community. Our main goal is to keep the district clean, safe, inviting, and prosperous. The SSA mission of the Little Village Social Service Area is number 25. Is to preserve the culture, identity of the commercial and local community, while creating a more attractive and distinctive business area. And as you were saying before, we are going to be going into great detail as to what the SSA does for the community as far as what we are proposing in the future. So that way, as of right now, really we're just looking for support. We're looking for some support. And we will answer as many questions as possible when the meeting is over. If you have something that's pressing, feel free to raise your hand. Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit in a little bit more detail about the terms that you heard Patrick using. So equalized assessed value is your property value. So Patrick was talking about the assessor's office. So the assessor comes out every 3 years and assesses your property. The state then has an equalizer that it applies against that assessed value, and that creates your equalized assessed value. It's upon that EAV that all of us pay property taxes. So Patrick was saying, as a reminder, this is taxing district. It's not an entity. We're not creating a new organization. It's a taxing district, just like fire, police, board of ed, mosquito abatement, etc. Hi, welcome. So you're going to pay your taxes based on your equalized assessed value. And properties are taxed differently, whether they are residential, commercial, vacant. So I think this is part of getting to the question that you were asking. The annual tax rate is, remember I was saying that the commission will ask for a dollar amount. The county then figures out what that annual tax rate is. So that tax rate is going to fluctuate. The dollar amount could be the same from one year to the next year to the next, but because your equalized assessed value of your property and the equalized assessed value of all the properties in the district will change from year to year, that tax rate will fluctuate. And again, it can never exceed the tax rate cap. So that's going to be set in the establishment ordinance that Patrick talked about. So that is going to be set for the next 15 years, and it cannot be exceeded. If that needs to be changed, if there's a desire to change that, we're right back here for community meetings and a whole new application. The increase in property taxes is not the same as the annual tax rate. So we'll be talking about the tax rate that's going to be applied to the entire district's equalized assessed value today. That's not the same as the increase in your property taxes. So what we look at, and we have a slide toward the end, is essentially what your effective tax rate is. So if your effective tax rate is 7 or 8%, and we're adding another, say, 0.5%, then the increase in your property taxes is not 0.5%. It's 0.5% on top of 7%. Let's say for sake of easy math, your effective tax rate is 10%. It's not, but let's say it is for easy math. And we're proposing a 1% tax. We're increasing your taxes by 10%. You understand that, right? We've added another 10% on top of your taxes, which we're not doing. So that was an easy math explanation, but I don't want anyone to walk out of here saying my taxes are going up 10%. For two reasons. One, because those are not the real numbers. And number two, because you've been paying this tax already. And in fact, what we're projecting or proposing is a reduction in that for the next year. The levy is the amount that is generated every year from the property tax. So the tax that is levied against your properties is what we call the levy. Now that's not necessarily the whole budget for the year, because this is not a use it or lose it program. So a lot of us are familiar with these terrible stories that we hear about the federal government, especially, where a certain department has been given X millions or billions of dollars, and then they have to find a way to use all that money at the end of the year on ridiculous things, because if they don't use up their whole allocation, they won't get the same level of allocation the following year. So we've heard these stories about waste and fraud. The good thing is that the city has set this up so that there is a provision that if money is not used in a particular year, it can be carried over to the following year, as long as it doesn't exceed 25% of the previous year's budget. So what does that mean? It means that the commission is not in a mad race at the end of the year to try and spend that money poorly. It also means that the city is monitoring. So Patrick talked about the role of the city and making sure that the program is used effectively and efficiently. So if an SSA were levying $500,000 a year, every year they were only spending $200,000, Patrick's department would say, what's going on? You don't need to get that much money from the property tax, from the property owners. And why aren't you spending this money? We're going to make you spend down your carryover before you tax anybody for another red cent. So that's the interplay between the service provider, the commission, and Patrick's department. We've got a couple pretty easy equations here. So we're talking about the levy. This is the dollar amount that the commission is saying we need X dollars to provide these programs and services in the next year, in 2018. So we know this number. So we've worked with the commission or the advisory committee in this case to figure out what that levy is, and we'll be talking about it today. And we know what the equalized assessed value of all the properties in the district is. That's part of what my company does. We look at every single property And we take into consideration if there is a senior tax freeze, resident, owner occupant freeze. We know if the property is vacant, if it is zoned commercial or multi. We have all of that. And that's the database that you see here listing all of the properties. So we're actually just solving for X. It's a really simple math equation when you think about like 4th grade, 5th grade math. We're just solving for X. So that tells us what the tax rate is that needs to be applied. This is the only time though that this work is done. It's only done when you're reconstituting or creating a new SSA. Otherwise, as I said, the commission every year just says, this is the amount of money that we would like for the following year. Yes?
Is there something set up for like checks and balances when we're making the decisions on to spend what and where, that these are reasonable and necessary expenses?
Yeah, there are at least 2, maybe 3 as I start talking about it. So first of all, the commissioners are property owners and business owners. So I don't set the tax rate, the chamber doesn't set the tax rate, the city doesn't set the tax rate. So this is the one time, frankly, when your taxes are being used absolutely locally and the decisions are being made by people who are paying the tax themselves. So that's a huge check and balance on that. And then the other thing is with Patrick's department. So the draft work plan and budget are due to Patrick's department initially, actually this year, June 16th. Then Patrick's department goes through all of those. So 53 of these budgets are coming to Patrick's department. He has other folks with him. But 53 of these work plans and budgets are coming to Patrick's department. And it's not just the budget, it's also this work plan, so metrics. So specifically, if people are saying they want to spend money in customer attraction and promotion, what does that mean? How many people are going to come to your events? How many new followers are you going to get on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram? And I mean, it's very, very detailed in terms of the metrics. So Patrick's department would rightly push back and say, you know, could you explain to me why do you want to do this program? You've never done it before. We haven't seen anyone do this program where it's worked. Could you tell me why it's going to be different here in Little Village? So at least those 2, and then a third, which is the alderman. So all of this has to be run past the alderman, and we need letters of support from the alderman for the budget too. So the alderman as well could say, and we've seen this, the alderman might say, I really want more money in the budget for graffiti removal. And the alderman can hold up the approval of the budget until he or she gets what they would consider adequate funding for different line items.
Also, all meetings are public, so anyone from the community is welcome
Yeah.
to join the meetings. These are not backdoor meetings.
Kimberly, I want to add.
I'm gonna ask you
I want to
to
add
answer
just
backwards, too.
about the taxes. That's what I joined because I was really keen on the checks. They come in exactly 100% of the money comes back to us. So if I've seen checks for $17.80.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right. Taxes, they were like, taxes, and there's like a check for that. So the amounts, these odd numbers, at the monthly meetings, we get our financials presented, and they tell us the monies that came in, the revenue that came in through the taxes. And it means sometimes checks like that. So that's what I like about the program. The city doesn't keep it or the county, it comes to us, the amount to be spent.
Yeah, true. Right. So there is no holdback. The city is not taking a percentage for managing the program. So that's a very good point. And the money does flow directly from the city controller's office almost immediately to that special bank, the SSA bank account. Then on top of that, there are quarterly reports that are submitted to Patrick's department. So each quarter, the city is saying, tell us how the SSA is doing. And then there is an audit. So there is a lot of oversight. So the SSA has to have its books audited by an outside auditor.